Okay, so this is going to be for Physics 131, Project 14 of the Arduino Starter Kit Circuit Board combination. Um, so the basic background overview of this program here, or project I should say, is to take the Arduino logo itself and program the computer to essentially tweak, as the best word to say, the logo itself. In essence, it's going to simply just change the color of the logo from a range, which is representative of like a color wheel, um, changing colors such as you would find on your photos emblem of a iPhone or a Mac. So the basis of this is to have the program. Let me go ahead and show you how this would go ahead and actually be set up. This computer control right here, this switch or knob, turns at about 180 degrees. So that turn of 180 degrees is going to be what controls, obviously your computer control goes hand in hand with the name of it, basically controls which output or which outputs and inputs go into the program in order to change that logo, essentially changing the color of it and nothing more. It'll change the background color. It won't actually change the logo itself as you see here. It would just be in that same square, just like that, and change the background color of it. So changing it to a yellow, a green, a bluish color, orange, things of that nature. So while I'm here, I'll actually go ahead and talk about the things used to build our circuit. Very simple, very simple setup for the board itself. You're going to have a wire going from the AO output or input and traveling to our computer control here. There's actually a prong right here in which you can't be seen in this picture or depicted. But this computer control is going to have three prongs. The three prongs are going to be set up in which two of them, 1 and 2, will be set up for the power to receive power to the computer control here. And the communicating wire, let's go ahead and call it the communicating wire for right now, on this last middle prong. So the computer control was actually a little bit too big to put in the breadboard itself, so we went ahead and distributed it this way. Is you'll see in the book, shows here that it's just on one side. So we went ahead and divided it up onto the second side, only for the sheer fact of size, and went ahead and connected that wire to that last prong there. You obviously are going to have your power wires, which are going to lead to a ground and to your positive charge here. So from that, we're just going to go ahead and run it down. The power is going to be traveling over via the bridges here, in which are seen as the yellow one, and then right underneath is going to be this right under the green one, excuse me, tongue-tied, right under the green wire is going to be the red bridge wire, which is going to supply power here as well. So that's our build for you and the hardware that will be needed. So next is going to be the coding itself. So the coding itself, we have two types of coding. You're going to have your computer coding, which is here, and that's going to be directly uploaded into the Arduino Uno board. So this will read different info from a source, in which case is our computer control, putting out raw bytes from values of 0 to 255. That's just going to go ahead and change the actual color itself. Excuse me. From that, it's going to be transferred into the readable info for the processing code for us to see not just as characters, but as the color change itself. So this here is just going to be uploaded into the board, like I said, and it's going to be used as kind of like a interpreter for the processing coding and vice versa. So obviously they work hand in hand to communicate with each other and show what is being seen as the logo's changing. So that was just going to be the coding here, much of like what you see in the setups of beginning programs that you guys I'm sure have done as well. You're just going to have your serial begin, and then this 9600 is going to be the rate in which excuse me, let me go ahead and reference this over here for you. The speed at which the program will communicate. That's what I could not think of right now. I apologize about that. So back to where we were. So that's going to be the 9600 here, so in which it begins. As you see, and it's just going to keep going on. The delay is going to be of the 1 millisecond in which the program is going to read it, and obviously that's no time at all. So this is going to be uploaded, like I said, directly into the Arduino board to begin things starting off. And then next, once this is uploaded correctly and in the right format, next is going to be the process encoding. So the process encoding is the interpreter in which you will see the actual change of color itself. So this is going to be our main guy here. This is the big program in which we need this to work. So we did have a few issues in our programming in which, as you can see here, this import is highlighted as well as this PI image, things of that nature. We just had issues running into keywords not being highlighted and the coding being put in correctly, but it could be a numerous amount of things that could just have gone wrong within, say, an updated computer, Java updates, stuff like that. Things have been updated and changed since these things have been published, and technology is so new. So it varies totally compared to, say, other things. I don't know. But back to it. We're going to go ahead and see different coding here in which we go ahead and see this here. It's going to be for the background color. So the background color is going to change, obviously, because that is how we are going to tweak the logo itself. So this here is just declaring that it's going to be a background color. Our next one is going to be the color mode, in which it goes up to 255. So ranging from 0 to 255 are going to be the color changing, in which those raw bytes will be transformed into seeing the colors. So next we have the loading image. Like I said, our image is going to be the logo itself. So as you can see here on the board, the Arduino logo, that's actually going to be the logo that gets changed. Obviously not on this board, but a little image pops up on your screen after the processing programs ran, and it'll be about this big. Nothing too crazy, just small enough to see that the logo is changing colors and the program is running correctly. So all these are going to be put in. This is going to be for the logo itself, like I said again. This is going to be for the sizing of the logo, so logo width, height, things of that nature. And once put in correctly, like I said again, this is going to be the image logo 0, color defining, things of that nature. Oh, I'm sorry, and this also is going to be showing your displaying of the image once it is colored. So that's all that is, essentially programming for that. The next thing that we did encounter when it is running correctly, let me go ahead and turn this volume down so I can continue talking. Once the computer programming is ran, like I said, those raw bytes ranging from 100 to 255 will show up as characters, and we won't see them as numbers or anything particular like that, but it will show up. As you can see, Jose is going to be twisting the knob in this particular video, and it's going to show all these different characters as he twists it about that 180 degrees. And through that 180 degrees, let me go ahead and run it one more time for you. As you can see, he twists that 180 degrees, and all these different characters pop up. All these different characters pop up this way, and once it's in the processing coding, will show up with that Arduino logo right about here. And like I said, the changing of color will occur once that processing coding is done correctly and is ran. So it's going to be able to see all those codes and depict them in different ways and interpret them so that it is in computer programming language, I guess to say, and so that we are able to see it and observe it and I guess appreciate it, that the program ran correctly and that we were able to do it the right way. So let me go ahead and show you in the coding itself where we encountered our problems. So as you can see here, this import, this should be a highlighted word, and it could be from a number of things, running from the computer system itself needing to be updated or in Java issue. But down here you can see that it says that the logo was not declared into the scope. We did do some troubleshooting and found that Many people had problems with Macs. PCs not so much, just Macs in particular, with just simple things as far as like a semicolon missing or their logo HTML was not entered correctly to their link. Just simple mistakes that we would even make just ourselves. But we found that it wasn't anything in our coding, and we had tried numerous things as David had helped us as well. But it was just one of those things where it was just kind of hard to understand. As you can see, the importing here should be highlighted, PI image, logo, and stuff like that. But when it was all said and done, this is where we encountered our problem, was the process encoding, because this here is going to be the coding in which the Arduino is loaded with itself. And let me go ahead and show you. So the Arduino itself is loaded with that coding of the computer coding, and it's transferred into, or once this is twisted, it transfers that coding into the process encoding, in which we're able to see our final product. But again, like I said, we did have that issue, and we did do troubleshooting in the program itself, as you can see right behind here. And they said that most of the time it has to do with the IDE that it's ran in and the system in which the computer is on. In our case, we had the 10.10.15 in the labs, and people are using much newer OS X's in the program. So it could be something as simple as that, as updating the computer, solving a Java issue, things of that nature. But another thing that I need to touch on is, let me go back over here to the computer control switch. This switch is going to turn that 180 degrees, and that's going to help us determine our values between 0 and 255. So those values are going to come out as raw bytes, as I said before, but it's because of this switch here. This switch is going to send different signals through the green wire, interpreting it into the coding of the computer, and then the processing coding as well. So like I said again, the coding within the Arduino board is going to come out as just those characters, and then the processing coding itself will depict it and change it into a visual that we're able to see as the Arduino logo changing. So like I said, unfortunately we do not have the final product ran due to the processing coding errors that occurred and were unfixable to us at the time. And that's just a real life world application of coding in this case, that these things do happen. And sometimes we just have to find a different route in order to make the final product. But that was our project in essence, and we hope to be able to fix it sometime in the near future. And thank you for being here and watching.